Hello everyone. So my name is Sanjay Singh and I welcome all of you to this online session on Azure Administrator certification course. Today we are going to discuss about Azure policies. So what are Azure policies and how we will use those policies. So that we are going to discuss in our practical hands-on lab. So for this, let me write down the name of topic Azure policy. Correct. Now, what are Azure policies and what are the terms which we will use in Azure policy? Correct. So, this is module number 12, sorry, module number 11 and lesson number 4, Azure policy. So, in this lesson, we are going to discuss about Azure policies, implementing Azure policies, what are policy definitions, creative initiative definitions, scope the initiative definitions. Okay. So we'll see one by one. So Azure Policy is the service in Azure that you use to create, assign, and manage policies. So Azure policies run evaluation and scan for non-compliant resource. That means the resource which are not using or which are not following the policies. Okay. So enforcement and compliance apply policy at scale and remediation. So the resources which are not following the policies. So how you will remediate those resources. So that would be clear in this lesson. Implementing Azure policies. So there would be resources, okay, and there would be some policy definitions. So policy definition means there would be some pre-configured policies which you can use, okay, and you can apply those policies to your resources. Now, initiative definition means there would be multiple. If you are going to use multiple policies in a single policy, okay, that is called initiative definition. That means group of policies. Okay, so browse policy definition, create initiative definition, scope the initiative definition. Scope is where you're going to apply, and like your resource group, it could be your resource group, it could be your management group, it could be your subscription, it could be your resource only. Okay, so that is called scope, where you are going to apply these policies. Okay, now view policy evaluation result. So once your policy will be applied, so you can see the result also of your policy. Policy definitions. So many policy definitions are available. So by default, there would be a few policy definitions in your Azure. Okay, or you can import policy definition from GitHub also, or you can create your own specific, that is custom policy through JSON. Okay, you can create your custom policy also. So each policy have a JSON format. Okay, so you can edit those policies also, which we'll see. Create initiative definitions. So group policy definitions. As I told you earlier that if you are going to group multiple policies in a single statement, okay, so that would be known as initiative definition. So including one or more policies requires planning. So you need to plan what you are going to do. So I'll show you that practically how we are going to use initiative definition. Scope the initiative definitions, as I told you, where you are going to apply these policies. So you can apply to your subscription, to your resource group, to your resource, to your management group. Correct. So that is totally up to you. So assign the definition to a scope. The scope enforce the policies. So wherever you will apply this policy, if it is a subscription, so this will be enforced to, this policy will be enforced to the subscription. Or if it is a resource group, so this will be applied to a resource group. So select the subscription and optionally the resource group. That is totally up to you where you're going to scope this policy. Determine compliance. So you can see the non-compliant initiatives, the non-compliant policies, non-compliant resources through this step, compliance step. So the resources who are not following the policies, they will become into a non-compliant resources. So that you can verify from this portion. Demonstration. So I'm going to show you demonstration of the policies, how we will use. So for this, first of all, let me give you some use cases, some ideas, so you would be able to understand how we are going to apply these policies. Correct. So let's suppose that is my resource group. Correct. And inside my resource group, there are few VMs. So now there are few VMs. and there's a user, correct? There's a user in my Azure Active Directory. So now the smiley user means it's an admin user, the user who have permission of admin, correct? So let's suppose through RBAC I gave full access to this resource group. Okay, or you can say this. Let's suppose this would be a VM admin, virtual machine admin, correct? And that is my RG01 resource group 01. So VM admin means this user can create this user have privilege to create and delete and update or modify or list VMs inside this resource group, correct? So now as user is working as a VM admin, so he can do anything inside that resource group. That is, he can create any VM, he can delete any VM, he can modify any VM, he can change the size of VM, correct? What I want, just because as per the cost, okay, I'm looking for the VMs for a particular size. Like what I want as per my company policy, I want only DS1 V2 VMs only. Okay. Now, but this user have full access, full right to create any size of VM. So he can create any size of VM. So what I can do, I can create as your policy in which I can specify the specified size. So this user would be able to create only the size which is specified in policy. Okay, and this policy I will apply to my resource group. The scope would be my resource group. So the policy will be applied to my resource group, and user will be able to create only the VM which is VM size which is specified in this policy. That is just an example. Okay, now what I want, the resources which I'm deploying. So users should use tags for those resources. So there would be a key, there would be a value for tags, correct? So they should use some key value for their resources. There would be some tags. Okay, so I want to audit those resources, I want to apply tag on those resources. So there should be a compliance rule. So if there would be no tags, so you users would not be able to deploy any resource in the subscription or in the resource group, just because you can monitor your resources through tag. So tags are necessary on your resources, and just because they are optional things, so users are not taking care at that time when they are creating their resources, so they leave that option. Okay, so these are few use cases which you can use. So what we are going to do, we are going to test this thing uh, practically. So let me show you. Let's move to portal. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a VM through custom template. Custom template deployment. Click on create. So build your own template in editor. So here I'm going to use my template file. So let me choose my template file. So that is the file. Now, first of all, we need to verify. So if you see here, so there would be tags on few resources, correct? So the name is tag name is environment name, that is a key, and value is lab, correct? So that is the tag which is applied on network. So if you see, so this tag is applies only on few resources, not on all resources, correct? So that means tag is there, but that is not for all resources. That is for only few resources in this deployment, correct? So click on save and go to parameters. So I'm going to use a parameter file also. So where I will change my password. So save. Now resource group. So I'm going to create a new resource group. So policy. In East US, VM size would be DS1 V2, as I told you. Name would be this, user would be this, and environment name. So environment name is lab. That is a key. That is a value. And environment name is a tag. Correct. So now scroll down. So validate your deployment and then deploy. So deployment is in progress. So this will take few minutes. So I'm going to pause my session for few minutes. So guys, my VM is deployed. Now what we need to do, we need to verify tags. So just move to tags tab. So you can see there is a tag environment lab. So just click on it. So these are the resources like public IP address, VM disk, and storage account. They have the tags only. So virtual network, they don't have tab. NIC, they don't have tag. So that means few of resources have tag. Okay, and rest they don't have tag. They are deployed without tag. Correct. Now what we want, first of all, we'll audit the resources. Okay, which have tag, and then we'll enforce the resources to use tags. Okay, that is our task. So for this we need to move to policy. So just go to search, click on policies. So here you can see these are the overviews. So just go to, first of all I need to check definitions. So there are few policies which is already created. Let me delete those policies. Just because it is reference to the policy assignment. Okay, let me check. Let's move to policy assignment. So there is a policy assignment which we need to delete from here. Hmm. Definitions. Now here I need to delete definition. This will be deleted here. Okay, then I need to create that also. Correct. Now, okay. So these are, so first of all, we need to move to policy definition section. Here you can see these are the predefined policy definitions. We have two tabs, initiative definition and policy definitions. Policy definition means single policy. So first of all, search from here, require. So you can see here, there would be a required tag and its value. Okay, require specified tags, required tag and its value on resource group. So I'm going with this option, required tags and its values. So that is a JSON script. You can see here, JSON script for tags. So I'm not going to use the exact policy. I can use this policy also, or what I can do, I can create a duplicate definition also. So that means rather than modifying your existing policy, you can choose duplicate definition where you can modify the same policy. So I have clicked on policy duplicate definition. So it will create a new policy definition with the exact codes. So we'll modify that policy. So policy definition location, that means the scope where you want to apply this policy. So click on it. I'm going to apply on my subscription. So I'll choose my subscription here. Now name. So name I'm going to use as Az-104 lab hyphen audit audit tags and its value. Tags and its value. So this would be name for me. So if you want, you can change name of your policy. Okay, now description. So I'm going to use here audit audit required tag and its value. Correct. And you can specify also does not apply to resource code. Correct. So as we are applying this thing on subscription, so this will not apply to resource code. Category, you can use existing, so there are multiple categories here. Okay, what we are going to do, we are going to create a new category for ourselves, so which would be lab in my case. And here you can see, if you see here, effect is deny. So from JSON I'm going to change to audit. So effect would be audit here. Correct. So scroll down and see. So you can see policy definition is created successfully. Now go back and there is an initiative definition. Okay, so click on it. Here scope would be your uh, subscription, correct, and name would be AZ1000. I'm using my VM name, so AZ1000 lab hyphen tagging initiative. Description, collection of tag policy. 1 second. Name cannot contain leading or white space. Okay. Yeah. So collection of tags. This would be description. Category will be lab, so we need to use existing. Go and check where is lab. So scroll down here, you need to check your available definitions. So as you can see, there are multiple definitions are available. So what we are going to use, we are going to use the definition which we have created. Okay, so AZ1000 lab audit tags and its value, auditor required tag and its value do not apply to the source code which we have created custom. So click on it and click on add. Here tag value which we need to set. Okay, so the value would be environment in our case, and so tag name would be environment. environment environment and lab. Click on save. So as we have created a definition also, initiative definition, now let's move to assignments. So go to assignment, then click on assign initiative. We need to click on it. And scope would be our subscription. Exclusion, if you want to exclude any resource, so you can exclude. So right now I'm not going to exclude any resource from here. Initiative definition, so definition is tagging initiative which we have created. So click on it, click on select description. So description I'm going to use here assignment of Az-104 lab fun tagging initiative. Policy enforcement enabled, assigned by Sanjay Singh. Correct. Click on next. So right now we are not going to specify any parameters. Going with the default, click on next and create. So that is created here. Correct. Now you need to move to compliance section where you will see. So that is your policy which you have created. Okay, it's not started. So it will take 10 minutes, okay, to scan or start. Correct. So it will start. So we need to wait for 10 minutes. So let's wait for 10 minutes, then we'll see the status of compliant resources or non-compliant resources. Correct. So let's wait for 10 minutes. So guys, you can see now this policy is applied. Okay, it's started and scanned the non-compliant resources. Okay, so let's click on it. You can verify from here. So non-compliant resources, just go to there. So you'll get the resources which are not following the tags. Correct. So now this policy is auditing. So you can use that policy for auditing. Okay, correct. As we use now, what we want to enforce a policy so that the users who are deploying their resources, they have to use a tag. Correct. So for that, just move to definitions tab again. So if you remember, we have created a policy definition. So click on it, and there is an option edit initiative. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add. So if you see, there's already a policy for auditing, correct? I'm going to add one more policy for enforcing. So required tag and its value. Click on it. Click on add. So here I'm going to use, so tag would be environment, that means name would be environment and value would be lab. Click on save. So right now we are using two policies. One is for auditing and second one is for enforcing. So click on save. Now that is saved. Go back, refresh, and let's try once again. So click on create resource. Done. Template deployment. Click on create. Build your own template editor and load files. I'm going to use the same file. Click on save and edit parameters. I'm going to use parameter file as well without any change. I'm going with the default resource group. I'm going to create new. So this would be like AZ policy. Okay, and this thing would be same. Click on agree, and VM name would be same, purchase and validate. Now let's check. Okay, let's verify the policy which we have applied, it is working or not. So that is a kind of compliance rule. So every company have a compliance rule. Okay, so which user should follow. So what you can do, you can apply policies for their compliance. So you can use Azure policy. So that was just an example. So I'll give you one more example which you can use. So we'll see that example also. So here, just move to and verify the definition. If you see, there is a red mark. Okay, just because if you see, there would be no tags on that. That's why. So let's wait for the deployment. So I'm pretty sure that deployment will be failed just because we are not using tags on few resources. Correct. So user would not able to deploy any resource without tag just because there is a compliance rule, there is a policy, compliance policy. So you can see on NSG also. So these are the resources which are not using the tags basically. So this deployment will fail. There's one more policy or use case, if you remember, which we was discussing about VM size. Okay, so that I'll also show you. Just wait for this deployment, then we'll move to that also. So let's move to next step. This will take few minutes. So till then, what we can do, we can see the another policy. So let's move to policies tab, and here definitions. So here policy name would be VM with, let's check, specified size. Let me check. All definition type, initiative type, custom category. Okay, so allowed virtual machine SKUs. Okay, so that was the name. So let's click on it. So if you see, that is the JSON script. So what I'm going to use here, I'm going to use duplicate definition. So location would be my subscription, and allow virtual machine SKUs. So I'm going to use here VM policy, correct? So description would be same, and let's select your, now create new. So this would be VM compute. Here you can see SKU size. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to save this. Click on save. Okay, now let's move to initiative. Here name would be VM policy use existing. So I'm going to use VM compute and VM policy allow virtual machines. Click on add. Now here you can set the values. Now which VM you wants to, which size you wants to allow. So as I told you, DS1V2, we need to search DS1. So is there any size DS1 underscore? No. Standard DS, yeah, this one, standard DS1V2, correct. Now this is the allowed size. Click on save. So now this policy will be applied. You can see on assignment. So just move to assignment. So there would be assignment. So here you can see that deployment is failed. Okay, just because there is a policy definition. Okay, with the tag. So now the resources which you will deploy, you should use tags on your resource, and tag value, tag name would be environment and value would be lab that you have to use. Okay, here you can see we have created a policy for VM also. So let me move to definitions and open this policy. So that is done. Yeah, so there is no exclusion enabled. Assign this policy. VM policy, correct. Click on next. Remediation, not going to remediate. Click on create. Now this policy is assigned. So now let's move to assignments. So there's a policy for VM also. VM policy compliance. So let's. So it is not started. So it will take 10 minutes to start. So if you want, you can verify from here. So let's move to virtual machine. Click on add. So resource group, I'm going to use my existing resource group, and VM name would be test VM. Location would be East US, and auto data center DS2V3. So if we choose, so DS1V2, we have that is the allowed size. So I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use some different. So DS3V2. Let's select this one. Okay. Now value would be student password. Next disk networking. So I'm going with the default configuration. Just we need to verify. So we are able to create VM or not. So review and create. Validation passed. Click on create. So you can see deployment is failed. So there is a policy definition. So now let's verify what it is saying. There is a policy definition. Okay, required tag. So for tag, this policy is failed due to tag. Correct. And is there any policy for VM policy? So what we need to do, we need to delete first of all VM policy. Sorry, audit policy. So that was the policy for auditing. So let's delete assignment first from here. Correct. Now let's move to policy definition, and we need to delete policy also. Now that is deleted. Now let's check. Fresh. So just go back and create a new VM. Virtual machines. Click on add. Existing resource group. VM. So location would be East US in my case. And let's check. Let's go with the 1-2, correct? And DS2 V2 3 V3, sorry. So I'm going with the password. So policy is not started yet. Started, and there's one non-compliant resource which we need to check. Linux VM1. Okay, which is not using a correct size. Okay, let's wait for this. So there's a resource which is not using the correct size VM size. So on Linux VM1, as you see, if you remember, the VM which I am creating, that is also a Linux VM, and it is using DS2 V3, correct? So that's why that is in non-compliant resource list. Correct. Now we need to check this VM. So this deployment is also failed due to VM policy. correct? So the size which we are using, that is not allowed virtual machine size, correct? So that not comes under our compliance rules. So there is a compliance rule. Due to that compliance rule, that deployment is failed. So I hope this topic is clear to all of you. So that is all about Azure policies. So if you have any queries, just write down your queries into chat box or into comment box. Thank you guys. Bye bye.